Thank you for tuning in to Andronetalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. Andronetalks.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Andronetalks Radio. And with all this stuff going on, a lot of you have been hearing me rant and rave in the past couple days or past couple weeks over, all the different things that are happening. And I can't help it. Some of you really, really like that. Some of you kind of think that I should get it together and maybe calm down a bit. But I think it's something that we should be fired up about, because if we don't, this is about us. This is about our well-being and the well-being of everyone we care about. And it's time to not just sit back and relax on your couch, but even if you do, communicating, sharing information is really important. And so that's what we're going to do today. And I have my good friend Miguel Chesllar here with me, who had some really good ideas about what he wanted to share, and kind of feeling like he had a message. We're going to talk about wellness, health, and some just some basic hands-on logical stuff that we can do, and also some of the things that are happening that need to be addressed. So without further delay, we're just going to get right into it, and I'm going to welcome in. Hello, Miguel, how are you today?
I am fantastic, Lady Jessica. I'm feeling fantastically high vibrational.
Well, what? There's another Dune movie that's coming out in 2020.
Really?
It's coming, yeah. Although no one can go to the movie theater, but yeah, I could have sworn I saw that on there.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're dealing with all the worms, aren't we?
Yes, a bug, a worm, whatever you like to call it, absolutely.
Yeah. So we were just kind of getting fired up about this. I think it's a medical doctor who was talking about why we are not giving the proper information regarding this virus, and some really basic things about how to resolve the virus. And I noticed that anytime I post something, it might not be 100%, the solution, but it's an idea for people to work with, since the governments have not given us anything solid other than some kind of questionable vaccine that has not been tested yet. So, but we do have a lot of products around us that are natural. So why is it that we're always getting a slap on the wrist or accused of putting up false information? And they seem to find that information, especially on Google, Facebook, and some of the social medias, and they hone in on it like, oh, you borderline committed a crime by telling people to drink hot liquids. How dare you? Someone could really get hurt by doing that. And it's like this is extremely exaggerated, isn't it? And so this gentleman who's a medical doctor, which I really like. I like that he's putting himself out there. And right. You and we all know that his license could be taken for making a stance like this. But telling us to get some basic things off the shelf, like right. He said, tonic water. I guess it's quinine. And it's a product that Bill Clinton wanted to make sure that we couldn't have access to. And of course, anything that's healthy is taken off the count. We're not allowed to purchase it anymore. They keep removing things. And then he also said to take zinc, which is a supplement, which, here again, we're nervous to share this information because they run out and have to get rid of it right away. And this is some of the conversations we've been having. So we thought we'd kind of open it up and share it with everyone, and maybe even provide some links. So, and we were also talking about some other things that they've taken off the shelf. Maybe you can fill everyone in, Miguel.
Right. Yeah, I find that very interesting. It's like suddenly knowledge is a threat. Well, wait a minute. There is no, alone, one particular item that we might be suggesting may not be a perfect panacea, but in totality, it builds up your defenses in terms of antivirals and your immunity for your human body that we should be implementing every day anyway. I also take like a 50 milligram tablet of zinc every day. I put it into the NutriBullet along with some vitamin C pills. And the NutriBullet's just pretty much like a super blender. It matriculates it into the water. And then I add in zeolite powder. And I will drink that down. Zeolite powder is a detoxifier. What it does is it brings down blood alkalinity down to a 0 level. Why is that specifically important in terms of viruses? Well, viruses and cancers tend to like highly acidic or high alkaline levels of levels in the blood. So when you take that away, it doesn't thrive in that environment. It also gives your body a chance to formulate antibodies and a better defense in a less acidic body in terms of blood alkalinity. So those little nuances. Zinc is good against mitigating replication of viruses throughout the body. So it slows down its growth rate, is what it's really kind of doing. That's why zinc's kind of important in that respect. There's certain recommended levels, of course. You listen to any type of nutritionist to know what's actually healthful. But you can incorporate those types of things into a simple drink of water. Zeolite powder, again, that comes in like a chalk form. It's like a little container box. Not necessarily cheap, but it's effective, and it does remove it. Since it's a negatively charged chalk powder, it's negatively charged with a honeycomb structure. It removes harmful metallic items out of your body and organs through your water extake when you're either sweating or you're going to utilize the bathroom. So when you're drinking that stuff, you're going to drink it with water. It'll go through your body and take out the harmful metals like cadmium and things like that are usually in the water. So I also recommend, trying to do a lot of your water filters and stuff when you are trying to drink your water. Try to utilize water filters into your day or into the pitchers of water that you're pouring, so that you have a Brita filter, things of that nature. Make sure it's as pure as possible. But then you put the detoxifiers in, like zeolite powder, that will bring down your blood alkalinity, also remove harmful metals out of your organs through your bathroom functions. So that will be effective against viruses and cancer spreading in that type of environment throughout your body. Elderberry tea. That's another one that's good. Echinacea tea is good for throat. Elderberry is good for antiviral. And again, I believe the new gold standard is going to be garlic. So for our audience, garlic is going to become a new gold standard. And what I've been told is it's a fantastic antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial. I put my garlic shards that make up a garlic bulb, and I peel them, and I put them into the bottom of the NutriBullet, and I put up like a quarter thing of water in it, fresh water, and I NutriBlast it, and then I drink it fresh. It's a rich drink. I will warn you, so you have to, if you can't drink it quick or swill it like a shot glass, sip it. Or you can incorporate it into, let's say, a tomato sauce. If you're going to have like some ziti's or rigatonis, put it in there. It'll still come into your body and do the same thing. The enzymes in it will take care of any type of sore throat that's coming on, or it also eats the enzymes, being as fresh as they are in a NutriBullet process, eat the plaque out of the arteries of your heart and your cardio system. So if you're a potential stroke victim and you have blockage of arteries, this thing will start eating away that stuff. So I try to do a regimen like that once a day, and I've been doing that pretty much throughout the start of all this craziness with COVID. Not to mention, I mean, I'm a young 48, but as you get older, you do have to be aware of your cholesterol levels. So I think I'm pretty much down to zero at this point with all the garlic water I'm drinking. It drives you nuts, but trust me, the good Lord made these organic remedies that I've talked about for a reason. He's here to help you. He's not here to harm your body systems. And when all these people are trying to deny us a simple piece of knowledge that can help bring up your immunity defense, something's wrong with this picture. So if it's up to wonderful people like Lady Jessica or myself to give you that information to help arm you with some good totality defenses for your antivirals and your immunity in general, then that's how it's going to that's how we're going to pass the information on to you, because we care and love for every one of you guys. You're unique in the universe. Don't let fear toxify and internalize inside of you. Pray. From my standpoint, I come from a more Christian standpoint. I go and try to do prayer every day. That helps detoxify any bad thoughts and energies, and I give that away and say, Lord, I'm giving this up to you, and let it go. And from Jessica's standpoint, meditation for peace of mind and joy and balance is also critical, because it achieves the same high vibrational effect. You want to do so at a deep level so we can traverse this time of challenge very successfully and come out looking great on the other side. And it creates a lot of positive things. We're not going to sit here and let negative rule us anymore. We're going to look at all the positive aspects of this challenging time that we're in, and we will get through it.
Well, that's great. And I mean, you're giving some really solid ideas of what people can do, and there's all different variations. You have to find that blend of products that work for you. But my last show that I had with Peter the Insider, he started talking about how the chocolate, like the high level of cacao in the chocolate has to be like, 75%, no, about 75%. And it is going to deal with some of that AI or the femto, nanotech that's is attached to some of these things, also related to 5G, and to take eat that a little bit of chocolate each day, which people are like, well, it's not really hard for me to do that for most people. But I actually had someone comment. They said to message me privately that that this was a sham and this and that, and I'm like, and people that got angry about mint tea. And I'm like, that's the strangest thing. It's like getting angry about, I don't know, milk, eggs, or something else like that. I mean, it's not going to hurt anyone. Does it, change your life? Is it going to have some, like, are we claiming it's a miracle pill? No, absolutely not. You need to be rational and sensible. It's just a food product that is beneficial, like vitamin C, oranges, lemons. I don't know, to some people, this is evil information. But anyhow, I'm just going to go and take a look at the comments after, Peter discussed that with everyone. And then here they talk about alkalizing your body and the pH of a few different things. So Daria said lemon has a pH of 9.9. A lime is 8.2. An avocado is 15.6 pH. And garlic is 13.2. It's pretty high, isn't it, the garlic? But avocado is a lot higher than I realized. Orange, 9.2 pH. And dandelion is 22.7. Pineapple's 12.7, and that's what she put in there. But I mean, it's hard to eat. I don't know if anyone ever did this. I mean, when I was growing up, we ate dandelions. It's a part of Italian diet, and some people would actually put them in as a salad. And I think that makes you pretty healthy. It's bitter.
That explains your yellow appearance, Jessica, because of all the dandelion pollen puffing all over.
No, it's the green part. It's all the greens that you eat. I
I'm
mean,
just
you're not going to eat the stuff that's been sprayed on and you had put all these poisons on there to get all the weeds removed from your yard, or I mean, you don't go out and pick that from you. They used to. I mean, the old Italians and some other people did
Monsanto.
that. No Monsanto on your food, yeah. But you don't want it on your organic garden either. And there's so many different types of lettuces, and some of them are a little bit on the bitter side, but they're super good for you. They're really, really good if you can adapt, adapt to it with your taste buds, and then add something to it, some kind of dressing or something that's more mild,
Cilantro as well, weren't you?
Cilantro is really good. I know that people have used that to remove heavy metals, and all of this, the metals that we're getting from chemtrails and everything else, it's one way to release it, and some people just get like a bunch of it and just juice it. And I told a friend, because I got a tattoo, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna have to go out and get all this cilantro and just really cleanse your body now because you did that." And I'm like, "Oh geez, I never thought of that." You know what I mean? It's like one of those.
Consider the landscape we're in. If we're being assaulted with like metallic chemicals, and it's being we're being exposed to it, is that supposed to work in tandem with whatever this vaccine is? Let's start thinking in its totality. Are they incrementalizing us body-wise to receiving this type of thing so that it can operate better? Well, what a better way to anti or counter defend that with these types of remedies? So we've got a counter solution to whatever these folks are trying to do. So I take these threatening or these hostile reactions that you're getting online. Let's consider the environment that it's coming from. Could be an AI bot knowing, this is truthful. Let's attack certain types of words that are organic solutions. Maybe there's a bunch of program bots saying, if they mention tea or cilantro, we have to start criticizing it. Okay, so they sent out a bunch of bots to start responding. Maybe we're getting criticisms from AI bots. So the enemy is clever. So let's consider what the criticism is. Is it actually a human responding to us, or is it an AI bot?
Yeah, I had that. There was a woman also that she had. She was very involved in a situation. She was a girlfriend of my friends, a friend of mine, and well, I mean, she had a reaction to elderberry tea. She just freaked out. She goes, "I just can't have it. It's gonna hurt me and this and that." And it's like there's something and maybe it's subconscious, maybe it's from my labs, maybe it's something that there's a wave of people being frightened of natural things. Of natural foods, like mint tea isn't going to hurt you. I mean, people have had mint for years. Now, how is that going to hurt anyone? But yet I've had people react that they were very upset about the mint tea. And so it's not just one, there's been a couple different people that have said that. So it's I'm not going to say it's crazy. I'm just going to say it's like I don't understand it. And I think that, we're not afraid to consume chemical-laden type of products. Right. And, I think that there is some kind of mindset that has been influencing us. Maybe it's from television or childhood. I remember there was a big phase when I was younger that they were freaked out about butter. And they said, we need to have margarine. Well, margarine's way healthier. Technically, it's not even a food product. So this is the type of thing that is the type of propaganda that we've been being given for a very long time, and to the point where we're actually buying into it. Or if we go along with something more natural, then they say that we're extreme or something like that. But I think it is like an effort to remove anything that's potentially healthy for people, and we're seeing that products have been taken and removed, and it's preventing people from getting what they need. Like, I don't know if you remember the whole Laetrile issue where it was, what was it, a peach pit or an apricot pit? I can't remember. But, they said, well, this will help cause cancer. Well, oh, geez, don't hurt the industry. You can't have Laetrile. I mean, say that it's the worst thing possible. And as a matter of fact, you'll actually, get either fined or thrown in jail if you have it. I mean, it was like very, very extreme. I mean, look at the challenge that we had with hemp oil and medicinal treatments from the marijuana plant.
Right.
And so after so many people had suffered, and they finally allowed it, but with a lot of regrets and apprehensions. But, as soon as they get a hold of it, they start taking out the elements that we actually need again because of depopulation has to happen. And so
it's the old Kissinger NSSM 200 document, right? But see, Pharma's not much better. They say, these are probably the people foo-fooing all the organics. Meanwhile, they're creating pharma drugs that have, lowers cholesterol, but you do have suicidal tendencies, but your cholesterol look great. Well, that's kind of sort of self-defeating, don't you think?
Well, you might die, but you won't have allergies anymore. What I mean? It's like, all right, great. I don't think that matters at that point.
Yeah, it's like a Thomas Paine phrase, applying fantastic medicine to a cadaver is really kind of what's going on here. Yeah, because he's already dead. But there's no common sense here. Common sense is, no food is perfect. Some foods you might have an allergy to. These are herbs. They have different effects. Some things, Some things, as people find out genetically, they have a taste for. Some things they don't like. It's like your palate has a different taste. Some tastes you like, some tastes you don't. Some people like some tastes. Some people have a different taste set of buds toward things that you consume or eat. Some things you don't like, it's acrid, or some people like bitter. Some people like sweet. It just depends on the person. But generally, organics, when taken in any type of balanced way or in a reasonable dosage, if you're taking like teas or you're putting something into tea, you don't have to have a whole bunch of tea. You don't have to drink a 2-liter bottle of it. But if you're just feeling a little bit interested in calming yourself down, maybe some echinacea, some elderberry tea, some mint tea, I can't see how that is anathema to producing a better healthful state, or something that's more calming and actually does work in a more gentle way on the body. Some of the stuff that they expose people to in terms of food and drink can be very rough on the body. They can't process it. It becomes toxified. All these big Monster energy drinks. Oh my Lord, you don't even know what's in that stuff.
Oh, I've heard of people in their 20s dying.
Yeah.
Because if you consume too many of those, whether it's Monster drinks or I'm trying to think of the other like Red Bull or something like that. I mean, literally can give you a heart attack, for a young kid.
Right.
That's how toxic they are.
Right.
And yet we can get as much of that as we need. You know what I mean? And but some of the stuff that
really ethical? I mean, but if it meets their controls of, if so many millions of people consume this product in excess, we're counting on an X amount of percentage of them to suddenly die. Well, how ethical is that? You shouldn't be pushing anything that's killing people unnecessarily, and it's some acceptable levels.
Yeah,
there's ethics for you.
But it's not people that's promoting this. This is a caliber of entities that want to have the planet for themselves, obviously. Absolutely. And I mean, it's not a surprise. It really isn't. I mean, you have to step back and take a look at this and say, there's no way in hell that a normal conscious human being would create such a maniacal, cruel system that it intends to wipe out the planet.
Oh,
I mean, that's just it's just not in a normal mental mindset. Other than someone has this fracturing but even still to really think through some of this stuff takes advanced intelligence to be able to orchestrate
absolutely.
such a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't even know if it's being done. Is it being done? Now, they always claim, well, it's to save the earth. I understand. I'm like, you know what? That is a sociopathic way of saying, you virus, you're the one that has to be eliminated. You human virus has to be eliminated. Oh, I see. So that's going to eliminate all the problems. I was like, it's insanity. I said, maybe the fact is, whatever these entities are, if you call them demons, fallen angels, archons, whatever you want to call them, multi-mouthed energy vampires,
Illuminati, Cabal, these are like hijacked, avatar bodies on just about. That's why they can't get rid of them. If you go and, like David Rockefeller, he's gone, but is he?
yeah.
I'll tell you what. I went to one of the Bilderberg facilities, and there was this huge, plastered over the whole wall, his face amongst a few others. And so I was just looking at him saying, oh, this is really bizarre. It was this very strange space.
Yeah.
And I remember having to use the restroom, and there's nobody there. Literally nobody there. I go to use the restroom, and there's probably about 5 or 6 stalls there. And I'm not like this. It's just so weird. This is why I have to bring it up. Do you know that the one stall, someone tried to open the stall that I was in, and there was hardly anyone in the building. There's just like a few workers there. All those other stalls were wide open. Why did they try to come into mine? I was like, this is bizarre. This is a very strange space. So I was with a friend, and we ended up leaving, and I get in the car, and I'm like, I was drawn to this man limping. And I look over to my right, and I swear to God, his face looked like David Rockefeller.
And it may well have been. I
was just like the most crazy thing. So these are entities. They're as soon as you do the deal, you do the soul contract, you sell out. They have permission to remove your soul, completely gone. There's no like afterlife and all this other stuff. You made the trade. You bought the lie. You're the one who, thought that you were going to get something, but they have no ethics. They have no truth. We assume that everyone that talks to us is being truthful, and in this case, they're not. So they say, sure, we'll give you everything you want. You want wealth. You want this person to be your lover. You want that. It's a sellout. And then the trade-off is we take your body.
Yeah, it's 5 pounds. It's 5 pounds of soul flesh, as they would say.
Yeah.
You go all the way to the bottom of the abyss with these people, because that's the trade-off. That's the gig. I've been tracking all their NGOs, their foreign policy wonks. There's like 600 or 700 core people that are very, very bad and very, very naughty. There's about 9,000 to 7,000 of them with lower levels involved. But there's quite a bit. I've got
plus all the contamination of the mind controls and the manipulations that they put in the average person that's not fully awake. That they're not even aware that those systems are there until they finally start to choose to wake up and look past it.
This is essentially a more public version of Bilderberg. That's all that really is. And the other outfit that people aren't aware of, Chatham House. Oh, everything is on the rule off the record, just like Bilderberg. That's another node of power mongers that.
And the Wetton group as well.
That's Chatham House, the House of International Affairs, House of International Politics or something or other. But it's Chatham House. It was established by the Queen's father, I believe, back in the early 20th century. But there's about 3,300 maniacs in that one too that are unlisted. I can't seem to penetrate that one, nor can I penetrate the listings of Bohemian Grove either. That one I'm not too sure.
Yeah, and even if you do, like I said, that they jump from body to body. That to them this is an avatar system.
Oh yeah.
And so when you say, well, we're going to take them down, and I know that some people don't like this. You say you're going to take them down. Well, if you think you're going to take them down physically, you've missed the point.
Yeah.
These, and people have complained or say that I'm in fantasy or in whatever, and usually psychics go through this. It's very common. And they say, well, you don't really know what you're talking about. These are.
What they're not getting is the spatial and the extra dimensional aspects of the situation.
Well, they're astral beings that can step into our reality and then leave. So you have to know. There has to be another way to access those energies and ask to have them removed from your space personally. You have a right to do that. Whether they get pulled from the planet, that's a whole other thing. And but if they are violating your space, you do. That's why I have people do revocations and ask to have those beings separated from them, because as long as you are on this planet, there are spiritual laws that are in our favor, but no one likes to remind people of it. And as soon as you are in the belief system that you're vulnerable, that you have to allow them in your space, then that becomes a problem for you, because you then become a victim and in a situation instead of becoming self-empowered. Now, if you go, the people that get in most trouble are those that get into certain types of cults or whatever that put them in a situation where they're not happy being here, and they step too far out of their body, and so they start to lose a bit of their birthright and their groundedness to the earth, that where the laws exist, and so they have a little bit more of a problem keeping those entities out of their space. But it's becoming aware of your spiritual rights here on the planet.
Well, it's kind of metaphorically understanding, you can pull a weed. Let's say you can successfully pull a yard full of weeds, but see, evil then readjusts and adapts to what? Seed level size form. So you have to then readjust your defenses against seed level. So if you're not versed in defeating seed level defense, when you've pulled a larger weed that's more tangible and you can see, the seed will still be left behind. If you pull it up and all these seeds fall into the ground, you've already missed the point, because it already probably got back into the ground. Even though the weed itself, you're only doing a delay. You're only creating a delay. So you have to find other ways of spiritually readapting your defenses against seed level implantation.
Yeah, and I know that people have heard Peter and I talking about certain celebrities, or that they're a problem or whatever, and that's because of the entity that's in the celebrity. It's not necessarily just celebrities are bad or whatever, or why are celebrities involved? Well, they're obviously very powerful, very, very powerful, and that's how they're powerful, because the entity in them is usually extremely bad. And which enables them, they cut the deal, right? They made an agreement, they did the blood oath. They had a vow of doing something to something innocent like animals or children. And then now they have to, they're gone or whatever. And so this really horrible creature takes over, still walking around in this body. But, they have a little bit of magic. They can make the body look pretty good. And so, unfortunately, it sounds like a crock of, what, from someone that just listens and they're not really paying attention to what we're saying. And then, but if you start looking a little deeper, you see that all those that are in power seem to have, not all of them are beautiful or whatever, not all of them are brilliant, but they all do some kind of harm to the rest of humanity who's trying to figure out what's going on here. Like, why is it that I'm working just as hard and I can't achieve this goal? It's like I have this ceiling here. Why is it that
everything they touch suddenly becomes gold? Their
Yes.
life is flowing with books and big book sales and big movies, and their life is totally arranged, and they just walk like across a golden path, and nothing ever seems
walking on water? Yeah.
Right, they're walking on water. Well, let's tell the audience that's a lot of fake news, because it's a lot of misdirection, and their lives are arranged, and there's an awful trade-off for it, because I wouldn't be surprised if those publicity companies, those publicists that run all these actors and writers and authors, they're the controllers. I got news for you in the Hollywood circles. They're the real controllers, and they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, they are. And of course, you have to, like I said, we're all paying for it, because the thing that we get into is then we start to worship them. And it's similar to the old times when they worshiped gods. They see someone that has certain abilities, has a certain appearance, and, they put them up on a pedestal. And even like when ETs came on the earth, they were not supposed to be worshipped. They were, if they were there to help us, and, say, in early times, we had there was a crop that, died, or a pestilence that came, or something like that. And an ET came, or a hybrid came, and sort of said, hey, have you guys thought about this? I can help. We can ask to bring in some, rain or whatever was needed, a drought or whatever the problem was. Right. And they would help out, but they still were not supposed to be worshipped. They were just supposed to be like,
place gratitude. Gratitude becomes deification, right? I understand.
We've always had ETs around us, and not all of them are malevolent. Some of them are very helpful. But either way, I mean, we still are the ones that have to figure out our own destiny, and we are, becoming more self-empowered in recognizing, our role here. But we also have to be extremely proactive of what we want and vocal at the time when it's necessary. And, for some people, they can't go out there and they can't say all sorts of stuff. Sometimes they have young children that they're, thinking about taking care of, and they don't want to lose their jobs. And so, and it's okay. I think that some people need to be very public and very vocal and stand on out in the open a little bit, send some prayer and protection to those people that are in the forefront, and support them financially. Do whatever it is that you can to help out everyone. You need all parts of it. Everything needs, or be the one that sends information, data. I have people that send me videos and other content at times, which is helping to assist and distribute information. So.
Yeah, I mean, when you can be a point of influence either being a great public speaker, or you could be a person that's a centralized initiator. You can, there's always that go-to person that understands the above world as well as the below world, and they've got connections to both. Yep. So they're centralist point. So there are a lot of people that can make a dent for the light by playing that role, by giving you information about different areas of legitimate and illegitimate situations. But there are people that are connected in various towns. You could let's say you go to Chicago, right? There's always going to be somebody in Chicago that knows everybody in every community, and they're the central point where everybody goes to for knowledge or leak into that area or to that world. They're just they're like a go-to bottleneck point. Mm-hmm. They're a good distributor. They're an influencer. They're a node of distribution. And that pays its own dividends, especially when you're trying to do high vibration or Christian-based items that are going to try to help mitigate and defeat and expose and thwart these beings. I think really you have to starve them out, and by starving them out, we have to learn to evolve to a higher level of winning the battle of the first decision or the first inkling or instinct we have. That's really always have been the root point of the battle for humanity. Is our first decision and our first choice. If it's in other words, let's say you're in a forest and you're raking some leaves and you're by a tree and suddenly you see something shining on the ground and you pick it up and you realize it's like a large, like huge gold amulet or something, right? And you look around and there's nobody around. And the first instinct is that little whisper that comes into your ear saying, take it, just take it, nobody will see it. And that's where the infection and the imbalance begins, just with one person. And then when they realize there's more than one thing out there, then they start sharing that type of corruptibility with other people like a virus. Then it becomes a family criminal group. Then with a bunch of families, a criminal mafia organization. And then that tooth rot of a spiritual sense and corruptibility all started with that little whisper in you losing your first instinct, your first choice. And then it rots out like a cavity on a tooth, on a spiritual tooth.
Well, I think that this whole thing that we're going through right now, Miguel, is pushing us to that point because when you take people, lock them in their homes, tell them they can't work, people are getting cut off from their financial source, and then what happens? Deplete the grocery stores of necessities, and then on top of that, tell them other things you can't even purchase. Can you imagine that? You have items in the store, but you can't purchase them. Such as seeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's something that we're not allowed to purchase in some locations in the United States. That's disturbing. And that was in Vermont. It's supposed to be a natural type of place.
Absolutely.
So here we have this whole scenario that they're pushing people, and I'm not saying it's the American government, this is worldwide, pushing people to the brink of wanting to just have their basic needs like food. Some people are going to get kicked out of their homes because they can't pay their rent. We can't have stuff like this. This is deliberate to push people in a very, very horrible situation. The outcome, people are worried about COVID. That's only a piece, tiny. Unfortunately, it's a tiny piece of this. Why is everyone locked in? Why is everyone potentially in the brink of poverty? What's going on here? And meanwhile, 5G being put up everywhere while everyone's locked in. And we know this. I mean, this is stuff that we've been talking about for a while. And it's like we need some serious prayer, meditation, something. Whatever is running this thing is not human. And you can say this is the Messiah's coming, or you know what? If this is the Messiah, this is the most disturbing Messiah I have ever seen.
Because it's the see, here's the funny thing. These beings have been banished out of another dimension. They can't exist in the author's, if I call it the Almighty's dimension, God's dimension, light and dark cannot coexist in the same dimension. They have to be always antithetically opposite. And the free will universe in which we're in all these bodies that we're in, it's the only co-interface where both can influence. It's like little angel and little devil on the shoulders when you've ever seen in the cartoons. One whispers good, one whispers bad. Just like I talked about with that gold amulet that somebody finds. It's that little imbalanced seed that gets planted, and then it begins to grow into a metastasized, palpable body of rotten imbalance. And these little imbalances can grow inside a nation, and that's what causes a nation to become corrupt and evil eventually. So that one little tactical moment can become like the mustard seed of evil, and then grows into a huge oak tree of imbalance. And that's what these vipers get off on. It's imbalanced energy frequencies. So they need it. They're empty of everything. They have no ideas. humans have an immeasurable amount of imagination. So they depend on the human form and human mind for the ideas of misery. So they're only reflecting off of us, but they're a vampire as well because they need the energy. They're a bunch of empty nothings.
I think though you have to keep in mind too, our system is setting us up to be in situations where we can't move forward without committing these violations against our conscience. Mm-hmm. So, for example, having to work in a place that we feel is unethical. I mean, I once, I had to work in a corporate job.
Oh, yeah.
My boss wanted me to lie to people to raise money, and I couldn't sleep at night. Honestly, I had a hard time with it because, sometimes it doesn't make any sense where, we could have just been creative and got the money we needed. But it's always that extra something, that they put people in that situation, constantly putting us in these situations. That's wrong. It's completely wrong. We can ask for the highest source, to assist us, to be in a situation where we don't have to violate our conscience. We don't have to be in a situation where we're selling out just to get, be able to get a few groceries each, because that's even the worst part. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't have much of a choice, and they keep on minimizing that. And I don't believe in that we have all this original sin. I think we're supposed to be here for to grow and to learn and to make mistakes and do some things that we shouldn't do so we can learn from them. And I think it's more of a school rather than a prison. I know people will disagree with me, although they're definitely trying to turn it into a prison. And, it's just, I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to subdue, and I'm not going to bend, and I'm not going to say this is okay, because it's not. And as long as I have breath, I will say this is wrong. And I'm not going to change to accommodate that and submit and bow and say, please, tell me what I need to think, or give over my consciousness to some kind of AI BS.
They want to. It's almost like these non-human entities want to put mankind into some sort of metallic dust and have us uploaded into these machines, and then put us into some type of Aladdin bottle, and then take it before the author of the universe and say, "Ha ha! See what I did to your humanity? It's in a genie bottle now. Ha ha!" See, that's what they really want to do.
We become some kind of glorified can of soup. Just really.
Like, but what's the easiest way to destroy a person? You take their purpose away. You take them and isolate them. You take their job away. You take their God-given gifts away. You take their ability to socialize away. This is a corrosive acid pour over the whole planet, as far as I'm concerned, because it's like putting acid over the joints of a bridge, and then when you put enough of them on the critical joints of a bridge, it just collapses into the river. And these fools go around clapping over it. Oh, we finally did it! Yay! We've destroyed the nation state. Oh, wonderful, fantastic! Now they're a bunch of chaos ambivalence agents. They want a glass castle world of chaos, where Ward and June Cleaver, trying to raise their kids right, have to look through a glass wall where there's a serial killer to the left and some crazy stalker on the right, and you all have to tolerate each other. Oh, tolerance, right. See, standards are the crime for these beings, because chaos is something they thrive in. It's like a petri dish of sick energy, and that's what they want.
I don't think I don't even know what they want. I think they're just want to destroy. I think they just want to destroy. I'm not even sure. Like, if I tune into this, it's insane. And I've heard people say, well, it's because you have to be positive right now. And if you're positive, magical things will happen where you can, you'll be okay. And if the, AI or something else takes over, or some other system comes in, then you can just smile and just be welcoming that, you're grateful to be alive and you get to experience slavery. And so I just,
That's okay.
I think they really like try to candy coat it, like, hey, this is going to be cool. I'm not impressed by that.
No,
It's not my way.
It's so slipping a cyanide pill into a strawberry ice cream. Tastes fantastic, but once you swallow the pill, you ain't going to taste the pill once it gets down, and then it does its real work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to
taste anything after that. You might as well be dead if you're going to go into that. Everyone becomes part of the metal can. That's going to be it. And all you are is what. It's not even hive mind at that point.
Right. No, like you said,
it's devoid of everything.
It's the ultimate lazy shortcut. In other words, as you astutely point out, we're here like our avatars, our souls, our spirits, we're here in a bumper car assignment. When you come down here, you're supposed to experience a lot of good and a lot of bad. You can't always know the timing of it, but it's how you react. That's what helps evolve your soul. It helps give you spiritual knowledge of good and bad and making the best choice. You should always try to strive for the first best choice, though. You're going to burn your hand on the oven. You're going to cut yourself occasionally. You're going to break your leg. You're going to have some tough circumstances head your way. Absolutely. But it's how you react in those situations is the real putting in the test.
Right. And so we keep calm. We keep our mind alert. We keep ourselves healthy. And we also operate with our personal power. We do all have personal power. And if the more people are informed, the better we can handle this. Now, having, I know I've worked for a bunch of different, different places, throughout the years. And, a lot of times they talk about the toolkit. Toolkit is, could even be like, you have all your safety items in one place and, just in emergencies or, when you're driving, you have a little packet of something, something in case you get a flat tire or have some other issues.
Right.
So you have to have your spiritual toolkit. You have to have your physical toolkit. And this is one of the things that we're talking about here is how do you enhance your physical body so that you are in a state of mind where you are able to think on your feet. If you have to make some decisions, you can do that. You're strong. You won't be vulnerable. Your immune system's up.
Yeah, your peaceful self-assurance. It's like a peaceful self-assurance, a balanced joy. What is that? What sort of remedies can we do for ourselves physically, also as well as for emotional and spiritual? There's all three aspects that have to be attended to here.
This doctor that I was hearing earlier, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. This doctor I was hearing, he was talking about getting hydrochloroquine. And zinc. He says that some of the doctors are not going to subscribe to this, even though Trump is recommending it. But Fauci is, in the same category as Gates is in depopulation. So of course he's going to be against a natural or somewhat easy remedy because they want to do experimental drugs on everyone regarding the vaccines.
His stock portfolio will take a hit.
Yes.
That's the code phrase there.
Well, that's definitely an incentive with these.
Mm-hmm.
These I won't say guys. I don't know what it is, but so then he also recommends zinc, and we also know high levels of vitamin C, of course. And one of the things he brought up was quinine, which he said that. Interesting, Bill Clinton wanted to make sure that no one could ever have access to it because we used to have it available over the counter. And, throughout the 1900s and 1800s, there's been natural remedies that people used even prior to that. People have been using herbal elixirs and all sorts of just, little things that people got through with any type of illnesses or viruses, and they figured it out. but it was usually everything that we need. You know, our pharmaceutical needs are generally, you know, pulled from the earth, and you know, I won't say pharmaceutical, but our remedies typically have been pulled from the earth throughout time, and suddenly that's no longer reliable. Of course, not by our standards, but by someone else that thinks we need to know how to think. And so he says that you can't buy quinine, thanks to Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton made sure that we couldn't have the things that we needed. And then he said, though, in Schwab's tonic water has lots of quinine, although they'll probably want to take it off the market or say that's a non-essential anymore. So people go ahead and go out and grab it. I mean, I like it when people have these different simple remedies to keep people healthy. And these are the things that we needed right away. And so anytime I saw anything like that, I just put it out there. And then I'd see these big disclaimers on Google, on Facebook or Google, you know, oh, none of this is true. Don't listen to this. Well, why? Is it going to hurt you to, you know, I think one of the articles was about drinking something hot and then using a blow dryer to keep the inner part of your nose warm, because I guess the virus or anything like that can't breed in a warm environment. It has to be cold.
Right.
And so suddenly that's, you know, like you're a disinformation person if you say that.
It's for board. Yeah. It's
simple thing. How does that hurt anyone? You use a blow dryer in your hair. Is that an evil thing? What are they going to do? Get rid of all the blow dryers? I mean, they were just recommending, you know. I even, you know, you can get some like a hot tea or some kind of essential oils and put it in some water, put a towel over your head in a bowl, and just, you know, take that in, you know what I mean? Just like breathe it in, and open up your whole nasal passage and your throat, and take care of yourself, love yourself, and treat yourself with something natural, and keep yourself very strong in your immune system. We need all of you. To people, many of the people that are listening have been doing this work for many years, you know, educating themselves, being aware of everything that's going on around them. And I don't want to see anything happen to any of you. I think I'm grateful that you're in my life right now. It's nice to not be the crazy person with the tinfoil hat, and we're all laughing about that now, because everyone else is now looking at us. And this is a great opportunity to kind of go to that next level and help people to understand. And I just had someone talking about, hey, we're gonna, you know, I heard about, you know, there's an event and we're going to be ascending into the fifth dimension and all that. Well, you want that to happen, then more people have to be more aware of what's going on, and it will happen. We will get to that point where these creatures cannot rule our world. They can't. And you can say this is part of prophecy, this is part of something that needs to happen because we're all evil. You can come up with all these different variations of it, but ultimately we're a part of the divine. And every single one of us on the planet has made a wrong decision or has violated their own conscience in one way or another. But we also, many of us, have tried to correct it and been honest about ourselves. If you're honest about your mistakes, you ask for, you know, forgiveness if you violated anybody else or had done anything against your own conscience, and then you're able to move on. Right. So it's like I said, it's supposed to be a learning process. That is the rules and the laws of the universe, or at least on Earth, this is a place to learn. And if we made mistakes, we can correct it. However, it doesn't mean this whole guilt thing that we're all so evil and we're deserving of this. That's part of a paradigm. That's part of, you know, the teachings of a belief system that doesn't have to be yours. It's definitely not mine. And I think people can believe however they want. If they want to condemn themselves, that's fine. But if you think you're going to condemn others, then you better be God. You know what I mean? You better prove that you're higher in your consciousness, and that you have been so perfect that you can say, hey, I expect everyone to be like me. But the ones that are usually saying that are the ones that have done quite a bit of things in their life that they shouldn't have done. So you're not in a position to do that, right? I don't buy it. I don't receive it. I don't acknowledge. I say do not consent to any of that. I'm not in agreement with you on that. If you think that you have a right to judge me because I don't adhere to your belief system, then that's going to be your problem. It's not going to be mine. But don't allow that to go into your consciousness. Don't allow taking in someone else's criticism or their condemnation, because they're ultimately, when it's time for you to pass over, it's going to be you and the divine source, God, whatever your belief system is. That's what you're going to be presented with, and you need to be right with that on your own, aside from anybody else, aside from any facility, church, synagogue, I don't know, any type of Muslim facility, whatever, mosque, all of those things. It's between you, but you don't have a right to impose it on anyone else, and that's a violation.
That also comes. That's a good segue. We touched on it just recently about internalized bad programming, bad experiences, traumas. They can manifest and toxify inside your body and cause diseases as well. So you have to it's like not just talking stuff out, you have to physically let that energy out. It's like when you're stressed up and you have all that anxiety, you can actually trick your leg. A healthy leg, if you start limping on it on purpose long enough, your leg actually swells up. You've actually convinced the body that your leg is injured, even if it's not. So you can internalize these toxic events and put yourself into a disabled state, at least physically in that specific example. But more toxic anxieties can become something cancerous. So you have to also balance your mind and spirit as well, and let all that old programming and all these things that hold you back from your childhood onward, let them go. You've got to let them out of your body, because they'll just internalize and cause diseases.
There's another piece of this too, is do not have fear.
Yes.
Fear, and they're doing studies, and they're actually finding out that the people that are more prone to fear are the ones that are creating the anomalies in their body that even replicate what COVID's doing. And so there's a huge campaign to get everyone in fear. And I know that I've probably sent out articles that frighten people, trying to make them awake. It's really it's a fine line, In the process of educating people, they have a knee-jerk reaction, and they want to first of all say it's fake, and then second of all, they want to say that you're fear-mongering, and I just want people to get the information.
Maybe you're also accurately over the target of the bad guy, and that's why they don't like it.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor in there. And so, and the whole thing is to stay out of fear. And I keep on thinking about, I don't know if you've seen the movie Apocalypto. And
oh, yeah.
Do you remember the point where, what is it, Jaguar Paw, I think was that his name, the primary character? And his father is kind of like his spiritual guide and mentor. He's not just a father, but his father looks at him and says, "I see you. You have fear in your eyes." And the other people that were, the tribes that were kind of decimated, they had fear. And he said, "Don't have any fear." And there was that truth. A very, very simple truth of taking control of yourself and not being collapsing under the circumstances. And because that, in the story, he actually finds an inner strength and doesn't feel like he is defeated, and he sees others that die and he survives. And so all of us can survive a lot of things. It's amazing what we're capable of doing. I mean, some people are already dug in. They already have like food storage. They have all sorts of different things. But to not get into a place of fear regarding illnesses, regarding situations around us, regarding the money system. Also, also reminding yourself that the universe, we were meant to be here, we were meant to thrive, we were meant to have an abundance of what we need, and that the universe provides food and resources and things that we need. And so holding on to that, and that might sound very like fantasy-like to some people, but if you don't have that basis of knowing that everything's going to be okay, and that regardless of everything, you already have that connection, that you understand that your life existence here is also you're unlimited, and your soul is not limited to just this life, and so you have to get out of that fear and understand that every single one of us at some point is going to leave this planet, and we understand that, or are going to another existence. So what's the big deal? Well, the suffering, the pain, the other things that we're worried about, the separation from loved ones, all of this needs to stop. So manifesting, doing what you can, taking care of yourself and being strong. And also the other toolkit that we haven't talked about yet is how do you supply for your house, like getting some of those items that are non-perishable that are good for you. And we talked about, you and I, Miguel, have talked about you have honey, and so a person can somewhat survive off of honey, and some other things with dehydrated food, canning. Mm-hmm. I know that a lot of people aren't gardening just yet, but some people are, depending on where you live. But there's a lot of ideas of growing some plants inside. And
but I just thought that the timing for seeds being considered non-essential. We're going into spring and summer. Wouldn't you, if you want to help many people, say, if I was the president, say, hey, you know what? I think everybody should be allowed to plant seeds. Maybe I should write an executive order in the very least, or you can just plant a little garden so you can store up food. Because if you don't put any planting like that, or small garden around your house, I know homeowners associations and all these fools have these rules. They should make that like a law, so you can always have some sort of little extra food storage. Because if you go into winter without all that food, oh wow, you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, or what people can do is go to the grocery store and then do something with the food, have some kind of way of storing the food. Like I said, dehydrating it, doing something else with it, so that you can extend, whatever it is that you need.
What
was that?
You said it was you called it a dehydrator?
Dehydrator, where you slice up the vegetables or whatever, and it dries it, so that it's almost like, you could throw it in and make a soup out of it. Some people even, that's where you get like beef jerky and all that kind of stuff too. But, if you have a garden, or say that there's a lot of times they're trying to sell vegetables and fruits, especially organic vegetables and fruits, that, not everyone purchases organic because it's a little bit more, but you can get a whole bunch of it and just dehydrate it, and you'll have it for later, and then it's somewhat healthy.
Buy local.
Buy local, yeah.
Go to the farmers markets, the farm stands along the roads. If there's if our audience has a farming stand, or somebody that's a local farmer, patronize them. Go and buy the local foods. Keep your money local.
Yep. And so, we were talking about all these different ideas, and then we started getting into the idea of, what happens if the power grids go down or something happens like that, and having you talked about a solar oven that's available.
Yes, there's a large model and a smaller model. They run for 400 and 800 respectively. They were developed and designed and invented in 2012. It's like a bent type of device that's got it's like a reflective material to it, and it's in the middle of it is a tube, and all that light gets collected into an energy point, and it cooks like a tube full of food that you can have at any time of the year. Doesn't require an electrical plug-in. It doesn't require propane gas. It can be basically powered up by the sun, and it cooks by the sun. It's similar to the same process of logic of iced tea brewed by the sun, sun brewed tea. But this is like actually sun cooking the food, and it tastes a lot better. I can't remember quite off the top of my head, but you can research that online for solar power ovens for outdoor use. It may fit for your lifestyles or not. If you can't chop down wood to burn some wood and burn and cook your food, if you want to do it in a way where it's not giving off cutting a lot of wood or anything, you can have one of these things with you, and you can basically carry it around pretty easily. It's not hard to carry around. It's pretty portable.
There's also you talked about some other solar chargers as well too, right? For like cell phones and other things, so that people can continue to communicate.
Yes, I know the company. I don't know if I'm not sure if we can pitch the specific name, but I could probably look up the link and provide it at the bottom of the show.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. And when we're talking about that kind of stuff, and let's see, that there's also
places we could go just in case there's a problem.
I said candles and some basic things, and people have cellars. They used to have cellars where they store a lot of basic foods.
Rechargeable. You can churn them, right? You can physically churn the flashlight.
Oh, the flashlights that can be rechargeable, things that don't require batteries, and a way that you can still communicate. We also talked about walkie-talkies and ham radios and other things that people have. Now, I'm not saying that all of this stuff is going to happen, but hey, if you have this stuff already, even a generator. I don't know if there's a solar generator, because otherwise, you have to plug it in, and then it will work for a limited period of time. But having your tools together, so if anything happens, you have the basic things that you need, and that could go for hey, we could be past this. COVID could be resolved, or it just disappear, as some people have predicted it will. Because we shift the energy and it's no longer potent, or we become somewhat acclimated or immune to it. But then the economy and that maybe starts working and everything's fine. And then there could be some kind of natural event or something like that, which that's historically all of these things can happen, not necessarily all at once, but. Either way, you have your toolkit. You have the basic things that you need, and this is the way people do it. People survive. There are people that teach others how to go into the forest and forage different types of plants that grow in the forest that people don't know are edible. There's certain mushrooms that are edible. Some of them are highly poisonous. So you really need to know the difference if you're going to be, going after harvesting mushrooms out in the wild. But there's a lot of different things that we in our generation forgot how to do. But right now is a good time to be researching and studying, or if you have books on some of these things, basic survival. I know some people are believing just having a lot of rice and beans and dried beans and things like that are easy to just put together, and all you need is some water, and water is very important as well. Yeah. So, just basic things that, we don't always think about, just a whole bunch of ideas, and people can also add to those ideas and And what we'll do is we'll add some links, but feel free to add some links of things that you feel would enhance this conversation, and it could really make a difference in someone's life. That is something that they'll think about, in the event that they're in a situation.
Yeah, like I said, I encourage the audience, get into becoming an herbalist, learn about herbs, learn about plants. Herbology is a very good thing to do. Get into beekeeping, because when bees pollinate gardens and trees, fruit trees, the productivity, they produce even more higher percentages than normal because they're able to do their work. That's why I like bees and beekeeping and honey. Honey you can store for 25, 30 years. A thing might crystallize. You can just warm it up and it just goes back to regular form. It's good for allergies. It's good for burns. You put it on wound burns.
Okay, so the honey is really important. There's some things that are just, they might get rid of some of the items that we're talking about, but they're not going to get rid of all of them. So
think of all of them.
Yeah, and a lot of people are, like I said, they're freaking out. They're storing a whole bunch of stuff that they don't need. They just went and bought everything they could. Be mindful of other people. It's sad. I'll look in Facebook and see all the elderly, that are just looking around, seeing what's left, and they need some of the basics.
It's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people are doing it on purpose to harm anyone. I think they literally think, well, it's us or them, type of feeling. It's a fear, and fear of surviving, and it's not always the things that they necessarily need.
I mean, I have parents that are they're both 76, so it's kind of like I have to worry about them. I also have to worry about my sister. She's a neurotrauma nurse at a specific hospital in the East Coast. And, she's on the front lines. So I have a lot of worries myself that I can be imprisoned by. But as much as I have to stay cognizant of them, I have to be positive. I have to be prayerful. I have to be above that. And I have to get through this. And I will get through this with the help of all of you. And my larger network of friends. You should all apply the same things. Do what you can. Be equipped with knowledge to help you through this time. We care and love for all of you guys. You are what make the world unique. You are not going to be beaten by this, okay? You're going to be challenged, but you're not going to be beaten by this.
Absolutely, and I think that when we all do our part, we're all giving. There's an energy to that as well. And when you have the intention to help others, without really expecting a whole lot back, it's just the desire that life is better when there are others around you, and you appreciate the purpose of us being here.
Right.
That actually creates an energy and a flow where you open up opportunities, you open up blessings for yourself and abundance, and that the whole fear and lack energy or mentality seems to dissipate. Somehow or another you can make it happen. And I remember this one guy that I wrote this little story. I think it's called Titi Gonzalez, right? and who lives in her high-rise palace. Technically it's in a little inner city girl, and I wrote, a whole bunch of little children's stories, thinking that, I don't know, they were channeled just like, some of my other stuff was.
Right.
And the stories, it's very cute, but it comes up with, I think it's her grandmother. I'm trying to remember the story. It's been a while since I looked at it. When I write this stuff down, I just don't remember everything because I've written so much. And but it's essentially it's this bowl, this pot full of food that doesn't end, and everyone comes over and eats, and it's like a bottomless pit. It's just like it does. It's like kind of always refurbishing itself.
Right.
And so all the neighbors then come over to eat, and there's always plenty. And that is an energy. That is an energy where we're in a flow of abundance. That's abundance. It's not just to become a millionaire so you can have some kind of like, like object or a necklace or a ring or something like that, or a car, or a house that you don't go into most of the rooms, or something like that. This is the real abundance, and that's sort of the bowl that's always filled with food or the things that you need. I've been felt like I was doing something, and I had to drive a lot, and I look down at the gas tank, and sometimes it's just like I should have less gas than this right now, but for some reason I'm really getting a benefit here, and I know it's natural. It's not natural, but it's working out that way. And I think if you are in that flow, and that's abundance. Right. I know there are a lot of people that talk and say, "Hey, I need money, help me, I'm doing this work, you need to," and that's fine, and that's kind of where they're at. And
that's right, but in a long term, it goes.
Yeah, because you want to make sure that you're honest with people as much as you can, and not take advantage. And I this does take time, and this does take effort. I do spend time researching to make sure I'm giving the right information, and especially with the disclosure stuff, I want to be careful and not to have anything that's false, or and it is hard. I mean, it's easy to kind of put out the wrong information by accident. I know most people don't do it on purpose, but with all the stuff going on right now, there's some of it's true, some of it isn't, and you kind of have to take some people's words on it, but it's usually, something you can talk about. But, I appreciate everyone that has donated, but I would never say that I'm going to stop doing this, but for some reason or another, I'm able to have the basic things that I need. I'm not personally wealthy. I don't have any inheritance. I don't have anyone really helping me, directly. And I actually, have helped other people in the process. So I honestly appreciate when people are help, but I don't want to be in that state of making anyone feel guilty or anything like that and trying to manipulate anyone. I honestly just want you to take the information. I want you to do well, and if you're doing well, and if you want to help, continue the information flow, that's fine. But I think the point that I'm making is the flow of abundance. It's the knowing that everything's going to be okay. And the past 3-4 years that I've been doing this, somehow or another, I feel like I'm not, I'm above treading water, but I'm okay, Yeah. And so I'm grateful for that. But I know that that's an energy. And
yeah, if you understand the reciprocity of energy exchange in life,
yeah.
whether it's an emotional one, and you know that it what you give out comes back to you as well. That's absolutely right. That's a golden rule. More times than not, people always tend to forget that. And like you said, it's like, well, if I take enough, I'll have enough. No, you won't, because it's going to go away. And because you kept taking, but you never gave back, you're not going to have that same balance in the future.
Yeah, you get that what they call holes in the pocket. And
sure.
You have this money, and you say, wow, I made all this money, but where did it go? And I've had people say that to me. I don't know where my money goes, And they make a ton of money, but it's just like it doesn't flow properly because it's the state of consciousness, the state of mind.
Right.
And so you have to be in that place where you're, you have to live what you say you're living. I mean, you can convince people of all sorts of things, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, if you're doing something like this long enough, people are going to figure it out. And
Yeah.
the truth of all things in a situation like this. And if things do get really difficult for some people, will just disappear. They just won't be able to do certain things because, and when I say disappear, I mean they'll have to go into some other field of work or survival or whatever, a struggle for some. And it's because they haven't adopted that flow. And that goes for everything. I mean, there's there was an interesting poem of these people that survived the Spanish flu epidemic, and the way that they handled it is sort of like they had this understanding that they were going to survive. And maybe I can find that. I can take a look, and it's a good thing to read and just to let people see the state of mind that people are in. But
Yeah, I mean, it goes to harken back to, I mean, I look at my grandparents' generation. They've both passed on since many years ago. But I mean, I heard plenty of stories during the Great Depression times from them. I mean, about things they had to do to survive, and I'm like, wow. I mean, that they were an interesting generation of people that really took on a lot of tough circumstances and still came through it. So I always have a lot of admiration for those folks that are very of that time era. They went through a lot.
and they figured it out, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did. Absolutely. And they were resilient, as they would say. I mean, you have to measure your life or how you're living it in terms of that golden rule of constant replenishment. Is the basis of your life based off of ruthless maliceness? Is it just you? Or do you have like a kind mercy about yourself that you wish to share with other people? And you have a certain type of joy and calm to you that emanates to others. And when you do things out of a selflessness, it does come back to you because people always will remember you for that. Even at the end chapter of your life when you're being interned or put into the ground, how many people are going to show up to remember you?
Right. Absolutely. So I found the poem,
Yeah.
or not, or the story. That's I don't know if you call it a poem, but Kitty O'Meara, who was the poet laureate of the pandemic, she had an untitled prose poem which began with the line, "And the people stayed home," and has shared the countless times on countless backgrounds with countless fonts, and since its first posting. And so, I guess it was used by other people. But here's the poem photo from 1919 pandemic. This is timeless. The people stayed home and read books and listened, and they rested and did exercises and made art and played and learned new ways of being and stopped and listened more deeply. Someone meditated, someone prayed. Someone met their shadow, and people began to think differently, and people healed. And in the absence of people who lived in ignorant ways, dangerous, meaningless, and heartless, the earth also began to heal. And when the danger ended and people found themselves, they grieved for the dead and made new choices and dreamed of new visions and created new ways of living and completely healed the earth just as they were healed. And the picture is of these two women wearing face masks.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's brilliant, but it's like you said, it's resilient.
Yeah. Yes. Humanity can be very resilient. And the problem is, I think what they forgotten is there's a parallel possibility of living in a better, more selfless way that's just as sustainable. And what this enemy is once you totally wrapped up in this reality that doesn't make you aware of those options to an alternative lifestyle that's better. So They want to cut your legs off and not let you have that knowledge and that opportunity to go to that parallel way of living that's better for you, that's more healthful for you. They're terrified of that. That's their terror. So we're trying to equip you with the possibilities of jumping into that. If anything ever came to a terrible situation, you have that ability to jump the circuit to the new lifestyle, to the new way of thinking, to the new way of life. That's better for you. It creates a better outcome for you and your spirit and your soul. And that's what they're terrified of.
Yeah, and as Andronica said, we want to align with the highest intention for humanity. And so that's what you do. You hold on to it. I mean, regardless of everything that we're going to hear, everything around us. And for those that are in fear, we're going to send peace to them. We're going to send blessings. We're going to send abundance to all of those people that don't understand what's going on and any that might be in fear. And we're going to set an intention that everyone is in a place of love and protection, and also that these control systems will not be able to survive on our planet, that they weaken and are released from the burden of the people, and that the people can just go about and doing the things that they need to do, as well as being able to resolve and work through whatever the combination of virus or the 5G is dealt with in the proper way, and not to be pushing people into a dangerous place where they're become experimented with in any type of injections or vaccines and so forth. I mean, I'm not saying all vaccines are bad, but in this case, if they haven't done a case study on it and they don't know, we're better off taking President's advice and try the hydrochloroquine and, or the quinine and the zinc and vitamin C and all that for right now, until we have a better handle on this, and then make a decision what we want to do. Just like the flu shot was optional, it wasn't enforced. Some people might want to do a shot because they don't know or understand, or they have a lot of trust. Personally, we have a right to know what we're going to be injected into our body. And so, what's fair is fair, and then trying to impose all of these control systems and so forth. I did see an article, I'm not sure if it's 100% true, about this 5G system from, what is it, Wuhai, or I forget the name of the...
Huawei?
Huawei, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I heard that is not being allowed in the United States, but we'll find out, I guess, because some of them are completely weaponized or a military grade, and so we need to know what's going on, and also continue to speak out about 5G, and some people are doing a really good job at it, and also trying to inform people how to better take care of themselves and minimize the casualties regarding, this illness that is definitely enhanced through fear. There's a medical study that they said it's related to, Peter mentioned pheromones, but they also talked about how that certain emotions and were activating the body in such a way that it was actually, when they do a test, having a similar effect to COVID. So there's just hasn't been enough research, or if they do have all the information, they're not necessarily sharing it with everyone and still keeping everyone in a state of limbo as to what's going on. So, take matters into your own hands. Don't wait, be the master, the ruler of your own world, and take charge of what's going on around you. You don't wait for someone else to do that. It's not sensible to do that. I'm not saying of course, you're not going to do anything extreme. You'll only do what you recognize as being healthy and good for you. So I guess that's pretty much it. And I can provide a couple links and medical links. There was a few good ones of people talking about different things. And Miguel, you have some good links for us too. So we'll put everything together and share it with everyone. And I think it's good for now, unless we forgot anything.
Like I said, the internalizing emotions and stuff. Don't forget the value of pet therapy and having your pets, your four-legged friends or your two-legged friends or however many legs they have. If they bring you calm, joy, and peace, and they bring you happiness, then seek comfort in your animals around you. They're amazing. I mean, I wish I had a pet sloth, but I'll shoot for that one day.
We all have our animals of choice, right?
It's my spirit animals, the sloth.
Yes. If you can't have a real animal, have a spirit animal. They're very helpful. Animals are amazing and can support us in this situation, and also give us, lighten our spirits a bit, make us laugh, and their playfulness is awesome.
Yeah.
You talked about the Manuka honey too. I just want to add, we had some notes from earlier, and also the nascent iodine.
Yes. Manuka honey, nascent iodine. That is for thyroid function. I believe the UN had a health study that said that a fair percentage of people are actually deficient in iodine that would go and help their function of their thyroid. So when you have a properly functioning thyroid, that helps with your body systems as well. And it's not easy to get through most foods. So I'll have to provide a link for how you could possibly order that. It's just like 3 drops a day, daily, and then you just drink water with it right away. It's just like a drop under the tongue, drink the water, and you're good. It's just a once a day deal. So it comes in like a little eye droplet thing. You can just put it on your tongue.
Yeah, and of course, like I said, these are just some of the many, many suggestions. So people have, a nice little combination, different ideas and things. And, I'm really big on using some of those powdered supplements, sort of like for smoothies, protein drinks that are rich with vegetables and minerals. And you can get there's a variety of different ones, and some are like, it doesn't go bad. It's something that you can just use with water, or if you have coconut milk or almond milk or whatever, and then you could put whatever else you want to add, some herbs, or in the garden with some greens, or I like to put lemon and all sorts of stuff. So we're getting back to just the basics again. Lots of ideas. Add your ideas to it. Please share the information with as many people as possible, and keep everyone healthy, and we're going to get through it.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you again for having me on, Jessica.
You're welcome, Miguel. It was awesome. And as usual, like last time, we enjoy having a conversation, but it's always rich with information, and that's the best way to be. So keep up the good work, Miguel. We're going to talk again, and we'll do an update on whatever topic that we need to address at that time.
Absolutely.
But thanks for sharing, and we're looking forward to some of those links.
Okay, I will send them. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned. We'll continue to bring you some information. Keep listening to the channel, and thanks for subscribing and liking and so forth. Have a good day.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Errol Morocco, and visit her website at www.readingsbyariel.com.